My name's Tony Sabanskis, writer, filmmaker, inventor of the H card, and world-renowned music constructionist, famed for my extensive research with the... and of course as Chief Technical Officer on...
Baseline! Now put a donk on it. Electro! Put a donk on it!
This week, our special guest is none other than the spectacularly fabulous...
Change that chair if that chair squeaks. They all squeak a bit.
Okay then, let's not waste any more time. Sit back and get ready for the highly informative, hugely entertaining, borderline annoying...
Custard Room Podcast!
Thanks.
Right, we're on.
Right, okay.
So, introducing Anita Pandolfo. That's how
Pandolfo, yeah.
Is that... I
Yeah,
got it right
Pandolfo.
first time.
Depends where you come from.
Where's it from?
It's Italian, actually. It's
right.
From Naples.
Ah, specifically from Naples.
Specifically from Naples.
Is that like how Sicilians aren't seen as being... From Italian point of view, Sicilians are sort of looked down upon. Is that right?
Sicilians are a completely different nation, apparently.
Right.
And they don't like to be called Italians.
Right, that's what it'll be.
But in Italy, it's like England. There's the north, there's the south. But it's the other way around, actually. The south is more poor.
Yeah.
The north is more affluent in Italy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so northern Italy is better than southern Italy.
Considered, yeah.
Right. Where's Mick living? Where's his gaff?
North.
Is it not?
Yeah, proper
Tell
posh
you
he
what,
is.
He is, isn't he? He's got a big. Apparently, he's got a big mansion that he like.
I know. I keep hampering after an invite, but it's never happens.
So, writer, actor,
Yeah.
and director.
Yeah, that's
Would
right.
you put him in that order, or do you want to put him in a different order?
No, I think writer, actor, director,
Yeah.
perfect order.
Excellent.
Jack of all trades.
Anita was my writing tutor throughout. Was it third year? My third year at uni.
Yeah. Supervised you, yeah.
Yeah, supervised my writing.
Tried to.
Yeah. It didn't work out that well, did it, at the time?
I think I won you over in the end,
Yeah, you
didn't
did,
I?
yeah. So, to start with, I just wanted to touch base to see where or when did you actually start writing? What influenced you to start becoming a writer?
I actually started professionally writing in about 1997.
Right.
It came about because I was acting for about 7 years, and back then I was a larger actress, and I got a little bit fed up of playing fat, stupid or fat comedy roles only.
Right.
And I actually wrote a letter to the stage saying, what about diversity? You know, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a best friend. Why can't larger women be represented on screen as fully rounded characters, pardon the pun, and not just playing stupid parts?
What stage? Stage is in...
Oh, the stage is the newspaper for actors.
Is that still going?
It's still going, and I actually got published.
Is it still called The Stage?
It's called The Stage.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
There's one keeps sending me emails, Stage 32. I don't know what it is.
I think that's just a facility.
Oh,
Somewhere.
right.
So the Stage is the industry newspaper for actors.
Right.
So I published. It was published, that letter way back then.
Excellent.
So obviously it's gone on for years, inequality. But we won't go down that route just yet.
Not yet.
And so I started to write scripts for myself, really, with parts for myself.
Right.
And I went for an audition for Our Friends in the North as an actress, which was a huge, epic drama back then.
Yeah.
And it was clear I wasn't going to get a part when they said, what have you been doing for the last year? And I told them I'd been concentrating on writing.
Right.
So they suggested, if I had any ideas, to send it to their scripts editor, who happened to be Nicholas Schindler back then,
Right.
who has now got a huge independent production company called Red in Manchester.
Oh, right. So that's who runs Red.
She runs Red.
Ah, okay.
And so I sent her a synopsis of an idea, and she invited me down to London, and she helped me then construct that into a script idea. We tried to get it away at the BBC because that's who she was working for, but nobody took it up. And she then suggested I get an agent, and I was at that point where if anybody said, do this, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't say no, I didn't talk myself out of things. So she sent that, she suggested a few names, and I ended up then after about a year, getting on an agency called The Agency, which I had no idea was one of the biggest literary agencies in the UK.
Right.
And it just all snowballed from there then, really.
Right, excellent. So, from 97, were you interested in writing as a child, or was that something
I enjoyed English writing
Right,
at
okay.
school.
Right.
I wasn't very studious.
Right.
But I could always tell a good story.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not something I pursued, and
Yeah.
it wasn't something I left school thinking, I want to be a writer.
It's hard. I had to resit my GCSE English recently because of my teacher qualification.
Oh, yes.
And back in the day, I can't even remember what I got. It was that long ago.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, I'll resit it anyway. For if you're going to be a teacher, then it's only fair. If I get to that point where I've got to teach somebody GCSE English and I've not got a GCSE English myself, if
True.
So I had to resit that, and it's so boring.
I had to do that with the
So
math.
boring. Yeah. Luckily, I found my maths one, so I was all right. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah, I found my maths qualification. I thought, thank God for that, because I was looking at the exam and thinking, my God, I won't pass that now.
It's true, it's true.
But yeah, it was so boring. And they've also cut out, I think this is right, they've cut out any literature that's not British. So there's no American literature or anything from any other countries. So it was like sort of things like Mark Twain,
Yeah.
and you were like, what's going on? Why can't we...
Why can't we study global stuff?
Yeah, it's quite ridiculous, really.
It is a bit, isn't it?
But it was so boring, and for me, everything on there was subjective. If you were writing a story, a short story, that's a subjective piece. I want to know who's marking it. Do you know and
Yes.
what their qualifications are?
Yeah.
Who's marking my work? And
Well,
what their
that sounds
qualifications
familiar, Anthony. Who are you?
are. But they wouldn't do it.
Well, kind of, you've done your degree and you've gone backwards to do GCSE, so it's
Yeah.
always slightly
Yeah.
questionable, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I was on my teacher training as well, and the teacher knew I was on my teacher training as well. I felt a bit awful, really. There was some things where I was going, like...
It's not easy as a mature student going back, is it,
No,
really?
it's not. No, it's awful.
Well, that's what I was. I mean, I graduated at 32, so I was a mature student going
Right.
into even doing a drama degree.
Right.
Interestingly, so that drama degree we did a lot of devising. We never worked from scripts. It was called dramatic arts.
Right.
So everything we did was either from a newspaper article, or we were given a brief and we would physically devise things.
Right.
So in a way, I think that's helped me with my writing.
Right.
In a way, just getting an idea. And I do tend to sort of I did originally come at it from an acting point of view. So my strength at the beginning was always about character.
Right.
And I think that's what people recognised in my work.
Yeah.
The characters were believable.
Right.
The dialogue was believable. I had to push myself to create plot,
Yeah.
and make things happen.
Yeah.
So structure is something that I learned on the job, really.
Right.
And I used to nurse. So when my agent was marketing me, that was one of the elements she pushed.
You were a nurse?
I was a nurse. So
Right.
the first shows I was getting offered were medical shows.
Right.
And the very first show I ever got offered was Peak Practice.
Oh, I remember Peak Practice.
Do you remember Peak
Is it
Practice?
Still, it's not still
It's
on,
not,
is it?
but it
Oh,
still get a few royalties every now and again.
Right,
So
right,
it still
excellent.
sells globally.
Right.
So it seemed an easy fit.
Yeah.
It was a doctor-based show. And I do remember them saying, "Now come down and speak to us and bring an idea." And I had no idea
Right.
what I was going to do. And I always tend to sort of look at life for inspiration.
Yeah.
And at that time, my dad had just been given a diagnosis of an illness called MSA.
Right.
And he was an extremely fit man, a marathon runner. He was a bus driver.
What's MSA?
MSA is multiple system atrophy.
Right.
So there are multitudes of things. You get
Oh,
Parkinsonism.
Right.
You have swallowing problems, slightly MS, Parkinson symptoms all rolled into one.
That's a bad one, then.
It was a bad one. And so I wrote, when I went in to pitch the idea,
Right.
I was just pitching my dad's story.
Right.
And also, years and years ago, he used to be a miner.
Right.
So when I was filming, when we was pitching the idea, we were just coming out of the back of the mines being closed in the Derbyshire area and the Nottingham area, and families being divided by people who went over the picket line. So I injected that kind of slight politics into the work, and that's kind of become my voice.
Right.
I mean, I remember somebody back then asking me what my voice was.
Right.
I had no idea what that meant.
I still don't.
And I just said Mancunian.
Yeah.
You know, I've come to discover that I do have this theme going throughout my whole work, which is usually supporting the underdog.
Right. Do you know what? Anna once, I'll refer to Anna. You must have got this quite a few times. Anna was my teacher for the first and second year. She left and then Anita took over. So we did used to reference Anna quite a lot in conversations. Anna once said to me, Tony, you keep writing these characters that are pathetic sort of people. And Anna used to just say that was me. I was writing about myself.
Well, I think
how I vision myself.
Well, interestingly, because the other overriding theme is don't judge a book by a cover.
Yeah.
You know, which I was going down to London, Northern Voice, big woman, ex-nurse. They kind of put me into a box.
Right.
Saying, oh, you're going to do Kay Mellor-esque type things, you know, comedy like Benidorm or Fat Friends, and that wasn't my thing.
Right.
I was more about saying, you think you know who I am, but you don't.
Right.
And so I kind of invested that a lot into my characters.
Right.
You know, that there is a strength in characters, and really all the time trying to write against Northern cliches.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Right.
Yeah, it really irritates me
Right.
to see that they do that. There's this thing that Northern characters and Northern writers are warm and cuddly, and that's fine. But we're also, you know, I've been to meetings where people have read my work.
Well, so the stereotype of not characters of writers from the north.
Well, it's always,
Right.
yeah. They think this is what you're going to write, and they're quite surprised when you go down a darker route, or a more intelligent route.
Yeah.
Or I love doing written epic historical pieces because I love history.
Yeah.
But predominantly about Manchester. You know, I was researching the Peterloo massacre for 7 years and trying to get that off the ground.
Right.
Until Mike Leigh came along. I mean, you know, and made this epic film. And also Victorian detective drama I wrote, but the guy was half Irish and half Italian.
Right.
So he might as well have been black back then in a kind of very Protestant
That sounds like
Victorian England.
What detective's that?
It's not Ripper Street.
I was going to say, because
that was ripped off street.
Right.
I wrote mine before that. It was called Cavalieri.
Right, because Krellin showed me a book, and it was supposed to be the guy that played, Sherlock Holmes. Who Sherlock Holmes was sort of based off was half Irish, half Italian character that you...
Caminada.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, he was a master of disguise.
Was it Manchester?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 25 Years a Detective?
I can't remember the book. It was an obscure book.
It was because he was half foreign.
Right.
And he was half Italian.
Yeah.
He could take off his shirt and tie and his looks. He could mingle within, you know, he was a master of disguise. And he could blend better than some sort of middle-class detective.
Yeah.
So he was notorious for going into the ghetto where he was born, actually. The ghetto used to be behind Kendall's, or where Kendall's was. God rest its soul. All behind there was a ghetto.
Right.
So the poor people lived in that Deansgate area.
Right. And you've wrote stuff like that as well? So
Yeah.
Right.
No, I have.
Right. Do you know what? I don't really know much about what you've wrote. I know that you're a good writer because I've seen like TV shows that have been written, because I watch Cops.
But you go into development, you write and write and write.
Yeah,
some of it never sees the light of day. You know, I mean, they used to pay you for development, not anymore. So that was your living. But it's a tough industry.
Would you not fancy writing? In fact, hang on 1 second.
You was about to ask me, have I ever thought about writing a book?
No. It was writing for soaps.
I've tried to get into write for Corrie. Corrie's the only one. I have done a few trials.
I think Corrie would be. I keep doing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I keep because David Isaac's writing for them at the minute, or writing the occasional episode. I keep twitting like things like, right, Steve needs to lose a leg. I want to see Audrey on Spice. These big lists of like different storylines. I swear that losing a leg. A young lad's lost his leg, and I was like, have they been checking my messages?
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I doubt it, like, but yeah. It's a nice coincidence.
No, but it's true. I mean, well, I'll tell you a story off the mic later on.
Tell it on the mic.
No, it's just, you go in and you pitch these ideas and go for interviews, and they're always asking, have you got a storyline in advance?
Right. Yeah.
And you go, yeah, how about this? But you don't get the job, but then you see that storyline later on. It's true.
Yeah, I've done
the big tram crash.
Oh, right. Was that yours, really? Sneaky, aren't they?
Sneaky.
A few people died in that as well. It was a good way of killing characters.
I had a conversation with a producer before he took over the show, saying the most memorable things I remember from childhood watching Corrie, because it's been an institution in our family for years, was the train crash years ago, and it came off the tracks, and you didn't know who was buried underneath it for quite a long time.
Right.
And the other one was...
you had one like that in Emmerdale, didn't there, where there was a disaster and it was like it took about a week or 2 weeks to find out who it were.
They did it on Corrie.
Did they?
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. No, soaps are notoriously difficult to get into, but I have done long-running shows like Casualty.
Right.
I wrote on Holby for a while.
Right.
Did an episode of The Bill when that was about, but it was just about at the end of its lifespan then, so didn't get to really write too many of them.
You wrote a series called Cops.
I did.
BAFTA winning series.
2 BAFTA winning.
2 BAFTAs.
And 1 RTS awards.
Where's your BAFTA?
Not here. Actually, the producer took it.
You were telling me about this. I was distraught for you.
Yeah.
I seen one. I was at Bolton Film Festival recently, and someone left a BAFTA unsended. I was going to steal it and bring it for you.
Oh,
Do you know
thank
what I
you.
mean?
You
But
should have done it. It was
they got
probably
onto
mine
me.
anyway. Doing the rounds.
I can't believe that they didn't, because there was a number of people in the production. Why don't they just make another award to give
Well,
so
interestingly
everybody's got an
so. I don't
award?
know. This is where writers get frustrated at not getting the recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's changed now ever so slightly. It's a lot different now.
Right.
But back then, when we were nominated, we weren't even invited to the awards.
That's terrible.
The 2 directors and the producers were up for it.
Right.
And I complained.
Yeah.
As you do. And in the end, we actually got to go to the ceremony. And the second time we won, the other 2 writers got the award. I wasn't invited because I moved on to something else. And the producer took the award. So,
Naughty that, though.
it's a bit naughty. But interestingly so, I mean, I set up a writer-led company in 2005, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was before everybody else was doing it.
Right.
With the view to trying to create an independent development house.
Right.
So I would help new writers or writers coming into the industry and established writers to develop their ideas.
Yeah.
I also at the time approached Paul Abbott and Russell T Davies and suggested we bought a digital channel.
Right.
And put all our dramas, we controlled it, we put our dramas out on that subscription channel.
Yeah.
But nobody could conceive what digital TV would look like. But what's Netflix?
Oh, I know, yeah.
Amazon, by now making, but we could have had control. But
I mean, even like sort of satellite, channels. I've seen a satellite channel, and it was so poor. The quality, everything on it was really, really poor. And it was owned by a company in Manchester, and they ran it for about 2 years. This channel, and everything on it was dire. And it was mainly promos for local businesses and things like that. And it was like one of them, like made in Leeds type thing, or made in Manchester. They have them sort of local channels. And it was terrible. But they must have got the money from somewhere and it must have been having viewers, or else it wouldn't have been there for 2 years.
It was interesting times, the digital switchover.
Yeah,
nobody was prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I'd been approached by Ericsson's, Ericsson, the mobile phone makers.
Right.
By a guy there, and this was in 2000.
Right.
So well ahead of the curve. They knew what was coming ahead in terms of what you now can get on your phone and how you can watch things on your phone. And, they knew, and they wanted to make the public aware of what was coming. And we created an idea for a soap.
Right.
That, I would bring my television experience, and we would integrate the whole of this, the new technology, and show that if you now land in Spain, you just go where's the nearest cafe. That didn't happen back in 2000, and people were not aware of what was coming. And also this big digital switchover in that we could access things from all different sources.
Right.
So I was ahead of the curve in that way. And I was going into the BBC saying, you know, here's an idea for a show. Here's how it can translate 360 commissioning. We can get another, you know, something online. Behind the red button was the big buzzword at the time. And they had no idea how it was all going to function. And actually, one drama commissioner said to me, you're so unusual in that we normally just get computer geeks coming in here.
Right.
But you're bringing in a narrative. But they weren't prepared to take it on at the time. So they were frightened.
Right.
I think I've always been slightly ahead of the curve with
That's good.
projects and ideas. And I mean, if you look at Cops, for example, that single point of view in a TV drama had never been done before.
Right.
And that came about because I originally went to World Productions with a paramedic drama,
Right.
which was made by ITV. And from that research, I was sat in the back of the van
Right.
observing, and you never knew what was going to happen
Yeah.
before you arrived at the door. You'd arrive
Yeah.
on your blues and your twos, and it could be something or nothing.
Right.
And that excitement of not knowing,
Yeah.
I discussed, you know, with Productions. And then the year later, when they brought me into to do Cops, they were saying, this is what we want.
Yeah.
We don't want the case of the week setting up. Originally, like with the Bill or any other, like Casualty, for example, you would see the case of the week set up.
Yeah.
This way, we only ever met it
Right.
as they did, and you have to let it go. So you never had a storyline that you saw from the beginning to the middle and an end.
Right.
But it was about them being police officers and them being paramedics, as it was on ITV.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Radio Times did a great article saying this was a with both of my shows on.
Yeah.
Saying this is
All
a
right.
renaissance of a great era, you know, this observational kind of not setting up the case of the week, just hitting the ground running with the guys in the uniform,
Right.
be it paramedic or... but you know what she failed to do? Put my name in the article.
You're joking?
No, I've got it upstairs. I'll show you before you leave.
What's going
He kind of
on?
ran my agent and went, did she not get the link? And that's, if it had been a guy, one might think,
Yeah,
yeah,
they'd probably
they'd make
started
that.
with that, wouldn't they?
They would have led with that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so unusual at the time for a female creator to have two shows on.
Yeah.
That the press were interviewing me, but they were only interested in personal things, like children, divorce, and you kind of go, well, no,
Yeah.
that's private. And
Yeah.
so, you know, you kind of go, well, would a man get asked the questions about his children?
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. I very
No.
much doubt it. Yeah.
No. It's interesting. And
Yeah.
you can see that this conversation is going to take a feminist turn anytime soon.
Just wait till we get to the
Wait till we get to the
triple F rating films.
Absolutely.
So, have you ever worked on radio?
No.
No,
I
have you never
haven't.
done radio?
No, I haven't. I've taught radio.
Right.
But I've tried to go. I mean, we were looking to try and get the Peterloo on the radio.
Right.
And Radio 4.
Yeah.
I took a sniff for a little while, but
Right.
they were a bit unsure. We actually had
Audible
all the
now.
cast, Maxine Peake,
All right.
Julie Heppenhouse, I can't say that name. They were all prepared to be connected to our radio project.
Maxine Peake's on everything now.
She is.
She's getting a bit oversaturated, I'd say.
She's the voice. I think she's the voice of Manchester.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But that accent, it's my voice. Do you know? But a female
But isn't
version
that
of my
good?
voice.
You know,
He did-
people
he
say,
didn't-
shouldn't she change her voice? And I say, no.
I don't know whether it's
You
put
know
on
she
slightly.
can.
I don't
But
know whether she retains it on purpose.
I
or
think she
not.
does.
Yeah.
Because I think she's already said that. Why should she be anything else other
I know
than
it's
she
true.
is?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've looked at trying to change my
Maxine,
accent.
ironically, before she went in Dinner Ladies, straight out of drama school, was in picking up the pieces on the
Right,
bus
right.
in a little scene. And I emailed. We communicate quite a bit,
Right.
and I reminded her of that, and she was quite amused by that,
Right.
because her character had a fit and wet herself, so
Right,
it was
right,
quite an embarrassing little scene for a young
No,
woman.
she's good. She's damn good actor. I like the one on Rochdale. You know, with the paedophile gang sort of. System.
Oh
I
right,
can't
yeah,
remember what
it was
about.
quite hard hitting that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember what character she played. She played the actual the social worker or whoever
She
it
did,
was that
yeah.
sort of like kept trying to bring this to
Yeah.
everyone's attention and was just
She's
being
very,
ignored.
very proactive in terms of. She's writing stuff now as well, which is great.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Directing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I didn't catch it, but we were at the Bolton Film Fest where she's a patron, and I think she had her film played on there.
Oh.
Didn't catch it though. I was far too busy at the time. I love radio though.
I
sorry,
think
going
it's a
back to
great
radio,
medium, you
I love
know.
it.
Something I'd love
Yeah.
to get into a little bit more. Maybe we should do a little play.
I know.
Why don't we?
I know. There was a big spate of me doing radio, and it was because I got long listed for a competition with Audible, and it was called "This Is Your Pilot Speaking." So you had to do a pilot that you thought could run for 6 episodes, standard sort of thing. And I'd wrote this pilot, got long listed because they loved it. Actually, there was one bit that sort of concerned me. They said, "I love a writer who understands the need for catchphrases." And I was like, I can't remember writing any catchphrases in that whatsoever, you know.
Oh, I
it was
know.
just the way that the characters spoke, though.
Oh, right.
But
So they think the way
thought
people speak a catchphrase.
Yeah, it was a catchphrase for some reason.
Like bumper sticker, every other line.
But we didn't get taken to shortlist. But the woman really wanted, the woman I was speaking to, there was a woman and a guy who I was talking to. And it must have been the guy and the judging panel that didn't really want, because it was an unknown actor, or relatively unknown actors in it. Not for me, it was Peter Slater,
Yeah.
David Carellin. It was a good cast. But for them, they were looking at people like Mark Berry and
The competition's so
Cumberbatch.
well, it is.
you
Yeah,
know,
of course.
So it was, for them, it was like they were relatively unknown. So it didn't get taken further, but she really liked it, and she was saying, "Listen, if you've got more, then you can just put it on yourself." So I was like, right, what I've got to do is, I'd always had a plan of setting out like a little world, and all these sort of different dramas, completely different, completely sort of on their own, but set in the same sort of area. Even though one was on a farm, one was
So like anthologies.
yeah. Like, in its own, like, Marvel universe. Do you know?
Right,
Like, so
yeah,
we had
yeah.
our own little universe, Biblingshire it was. And so I set out and I made 3, 4, got to my 4th, and I was contacting them, and they went, "Oh, no, you need 10 series." And I was like, "What? 10 series? Are you
Sound like the
joking,
Americans.
mate?"
You develop in America and they're going, what's the 120th episode?
They wanted like back catalogues of things that you could just dump straight on, so it was just no chance. I said, you know what, for me to create something like 10 series at the rate I'm going, I'd probably be about 150 by the time it were finished.
True. I know how slow you write.
It took me so long to write these 4 and produce these 4.
Yeah.
It was just like incredible, but yeah. So, but I'd love to do, Audible are the ones now. Radio 4 are dead.
Yeah.
It's just gonna die soon, because I'm on that podcast vibe, the Audible vibe. I can listen to a show or listen to a segment, whatever I need to, whenever I want.
Yeah.
I'm not having Radio 4 telling me what time to listen to the radio.
How long are radio episodes?
It depends on, say, BBC. I think it's weird, you get 14 minutes.
Yeah,
some
but we're
reason.
not talking about BBC. I'm talking about self-publishing.
Oh, God, anytime you want. Yeah, with radio. I mean, they probably go around the same
Could we
sort
get it
of
out
format.
on like YouTube and stuff like that, can't you?
Honestly, the way to do it would be to, if you were an established writer, which you are, is to speak to the people at Audible, and you can do it through a different platform. It's called ADX, and then you can self-publish through Audible.
Oh, right.
Audible are a lot more
You
open
have to
these
send
days.
me all these links. Or...
I will do, yeah, but they're a lot more open these days, because they're trying to get the market of radio theatre or audio comedies, audio theatre, whatever they're changing the name to.
If we did it, we could. Have you seen the audio studios down at Salford? Are amazing.
Are they?
We could get everybody in and just.
Right. Yeah, I mean, ours at Bolton aren't brilliant. We just started doing it. We swapped our booth around so we don't have a leaky air conditioner in the main live
These
room.
are proper studios. You should come down.
I will.
The facility. I mean, I know it's not turning your back on that, but you're just doing whatever you do to get yourself up on the next ladder, don't you? Really?
Yeah, I mean...
Because Gary runs the radio station.
Right, okay. Gary...
Morris Road.
Right, okay. At Salford?
I might just suggest that to him. I might start writing the first couple of episodes.
Yeah. Because soundscape and things like
Because
that...
everyone's, I mean, somebody's doing,
Sort
is
of.
it Russell T Davies who's doing a post-Brexit drama?
Right.
So it'll occupy, it's things like, it's all set in a cul-de-sac, a bit
Right.
like Brookside was.
All right, yeah.
We're not on, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about this then anymore.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah. Sorry, our card, my card ran out. I'm not organised today at all,
You're not?
which I should be. My card ran out, and I've just had to change the card. So we had a bit of a break in the middle of that. Go on, sorry.
What's the next question?
Right, next question. We're not going to divulge any more information about our radio theatre that we're planning.
Ideas.
Right, so I put Australia at 40 in brackets.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember you telling me that you'd gone to Australia at 40.
I did. I went backpacking around Australia at 40. And the reason being is we'd written the pilot episode, 3 pilot episodes for Cops at the time.
Right.
And back then I wrote very, 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 very quickly, so mine was done quite quickly.
Right.
And then it was a case of just submitting them and waiting to hear whether or not we were going to get commissioned.
Right.
So I was kind of tapping my fingers a little bit, thinking what to do. And my 40th birthday was pending the year after, actually.
Right.
And I decided to go and visit an aunt in Perth and ended up going backpacking around Australia.
Right.
Which was great because it gave me confidence. I'd just gone through a breakup at the time.
Yeah.
So it gave me personal confidence. It's great meeting different characters over there. But I also came away from that being really intrigued by Aboriginal culture.
Right.
And the Dreamtime stories. And I came back and I wrote a film.
What are the Dreamtime stories?
The Dreamtime stories of what the Aboriginal mythology kind of stories.
Ah, okay.
You know, that they're very much about the earth and that we come from the earth, and all their stories relate back to those kind of fables, really.
Right, okay. Right.
And I ended up incorporating that into a film idea.
Right.
Which has never been made, but you know, it's there. You know.
Australian filmmaking is
I know,
become a bigger thing nowadays.
It
hasn't
has actually. So maybe I'll revisit that.
Yeah,
one.
I would do. Yeah, and New Zealand. New Zealand is
New Zealand as well.
Taiko Takiki. Is that
It's
his name?
just getting your foot through the door, isn't it?
Yeah. I like him. He's from New Zealand. He was the director of Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
But previous to that, he did. Have you ever seen Hunt for the Wilder People?
I've heard of it, yeah, of
Brilliant
course.
Brilliant film.
Yeah,
Gotta watch
yeah.
it. It's really good.
That's one of Alison's big ones. That.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah.
Well, he did that previous to that, and you just go from a budget from 2 million to 250 million. Do you know, like
Yes.
it jumped in that sort of
Isn't
figure
that, but it kind of looks like an observational documentary, that Hunt for the Wilder People, isn't it?
No, is that not? That's we in the shadows.
Maybe.
We are in the shadows or something like that. It's about vampires.
Ah.
Of different time periods. It's comedy.
Right.
So it's a mockumentary more than anything.
Right.
But you've got like the Nosferatu he's like in a cupboard and he gets introduced and he goes, so this is Kevin? Nosferatu.
Do you know what I love about
Kevin.
Australian stuff? I've been watching quite a bit on Netflix. Their sense of humour is the same
Yeah,
as
it's brilliant,
ours.
isn't it? Yeah,
it's very
yeah,
dry,
yeah.
very dry.
Have you seen Kenny?
No, but I've seen one. It's about motherhood, and then there's one about called Sisters,
Right.
Which is the concept on that one. It's a TV drama on Netflix.
Right.
The concept of that is this guy who is a leading man in infertility treatment actually used his own sperm.
Right,
so this
right.
girl, have you seen this one?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, it is based on a true story.
Yeah.
She goes from being just this only child to the sibling of hundreds.
Yes, it is. It's based on a true story. Apparently, it's happened more than once as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's like, what's going on with all
Bit
these people that
narcissistic,
are
but you know what? Hey,
Just
it works. It
weirdos.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, there were these 1,000 sons walking about.
But there is that big thing in the moment. Everything's about identity, isn't it? So
Yeah. Well, yeah, Australian stuff. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. Kenny's again, it's a mockumentary. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Does it get a bad rep? I should say.
Yeah.
For being simple to do, but I don't agree. I think it's if you can do a good mockumentary, it's just the same as doing a good drama. It's just the way that it's filmed sometimes. So it's about, he's a toilet seller. You know the porta toilets
Yes.
that you get at say fairs and sort of what are they called? Not conferences, but the big outdoor events and you know, that type of thing. You know, the portable toilets.
The portaloos.
His job is to hire them to these like different things. It's brilliant. When it opens up the scene, I didn't even know it was like a mockumentary for at least 20 minutes in, because it's so real. He's on the phone talking about shit and pee ratio to how many toilets they will need,
right?
Because they've got different types of food on, like curries and things like that. It's brilliant, honestly.
Right up your street, then. Anything below the waist.
So, next question. What's it like winning a BAFTA?
The day we got it, it was like in a bubble kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it really sunk home as to what that meant.
Right.
Because everything had gone so well over that year and those 2 years running Cops, and then we were nominated. It just seemed part of the course, really, that we were going to get a BAFTA. But it's not something I lead with, and I should.
You should, yeah.
Everybody,
CV,
hello, I'm Anita. I'm twice BAFTA winner. No, it is. You realise now what a tough club that is to belong to, really, and what a privilege it is to have got one of those back then.
Yeah.
But it's also can be a little bit of a noose around your neck,
right?
Because then you become known for a certain style of show,
right?
And breaking out of that has been tough. But I've kind of been put in the go-to female uniform writer, or I was back then.
Yeah.
And obviously trying to reinvent myself a little bit and say I do more than that, you know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough because you do end up getting put into a little pigeonhole. Well, some people do. Other people can do gay things, sci-fi, family. I'm not mentioning names, but no questions asked if a guy writes about a woman.
Right.
A female issue.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Foster's written by a man.
Right.
We're getting round to that feminist conversation
we're
again.
on this triple F rating
We are. We're
soon,
getting
aren't
to
we?
triple F. I think maybe we should get onto that straight away. Yeah. There is a disparity at the minute as to what they look towards women to write.
Right.
You've kind of got lots
It might be female writing.
There
then.
are some very female-led independent production companies that you would think would champion women writers that tend to only employ male writers.
Right. Is that because male writers are better?
Oh, you are provocative. No, I think it's very interesting. I just think within the industry, there's a very female editorial teams quite often.
Yeah.
Very female heavy editorial teams, development people. But when it comes to writing, they are led by what the commissioners are asking for.
Right.
Fair enough. If somebody's having a successful run, then will wait for that male writer to come clear. They'll wait for them to write them something, or what's happening is a little handful of writers are getting spread too thinly.
Yeah.
And the quality is beginning to drop.
Right.
Female characters coming from males tend to be a little bit obviously males skewed.
Right.
And then there's this bit of a backlash at the moment where people are looking for female-led characters that are maybe thrillers, but where she's not a psychotic bitch.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Being represented as a psychotic bitch.
Do you think that it justifies its own rating, though? And say, on a film festival that have a screening purposely just for female-created pieces, female-created films, if you will.
Who would have thought in the 21st century that we would be having to have this? I had a conversation with the comedy commissioner about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And he was saying, yeah, but we're now pushing for more comedy, female comedians and and I said, we're in the 21st century. We were doing this in the 70s.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden is this... why is it still there? I mean, the disparity in pay was made clear to me when we wrote Cops.
Right.
The two guys were getting paid more than
Were they
me.
getting paid more than
They
you?
did. They were.
Yeah.
Till I found out.
Recently, what's Sandy Toxteth? She's kicked off about the guy from QI, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Much bigger guy.
Yeah, him.
Personality.
Him. Ian Islop.
No. I can't. It was
comedian.
From Blackadder.
Yeah.
Hugh and Laurie, was it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So,
Him.
yeah, so him getting more money, quite a lot more money than her.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at it, I was thinking, is it not just that? Isn't it that? In that case, is it not because he's much more well known, or he's a much
bigger sell?
Yeah, he's a bigger star, if you will. He's been in Hollywood blockbusters like V for Vendetta, in main role
As an actor.
Well, he's a presenter at the minute.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
writing it or anything. Whereas Sandy Toxteth, I remember from number 73, and I mean, she's done loads of stuff since, but it's normally sort of that sort of presenter-ish type thing. And I was just thinking, I don't know, me. I think there's a lot of that. It's just about your level of stardom. Right, next question. You're getting into acting. You're revisiting your acting.
I am.
How
How mad is that?
What's the plan?
It came about because, years ago when I was acting, I was too self-conscious.
Right.
And I really enjoyed theatre, but not camera work.
Yeah.
And it came about because I wrote a play for the JB Shorts,
Right.
which is an evening of short films written by screenwriters. The event happens twice a year in Manchester. And I was asked to write a 15-minute short. And I wasn't in that. But it took me back to my theatrical roots.
Right.
And off the back of that, I ended up directing another thing called North-South, piece written by Anna Jordan, who's a London-based writer. So I directed something I hadn't actually written.
Yeah.
And I just got the burning thing again. So put an evening of shorts on, and I ended up being in one of them, which I hated. But I thought, never going to do this again. But someone asked me to step into a role just before Christmas last year. And it was somebody else's work.
Was this for the NHS?
It wasn't actually.
No.
It was for just an evening of Christmas-themed,
Right.
family-based short plays.
Right.
And it played over 2 nights in Manchester. And I got the bug. But off the back of that, somebody spotted me who had his play
Talent
in
spotted.
Home
Right.
in Manchester.
Yeah.
And it was a script in hand, reading of a script, his new script. And I did that, and off the back of that, got an agent.
Right.
So,
Have you got anything online?
what, with me acting?
Yeah.
No.
Have you not?
No.
Why?
Because I've not done anything on camera just yet.
Right, okay. Right, has it been staged?
It's been staged.
okay,
I am
camera.
more at home on stage, I'll be honest with you. But, because you can't see yourself then, can you?
Have you not got a recording of the stage performance?
No,
Yeah, right, yeah.
got photographic evidence, but that's about it. So yeah, it kind of, I think it made me realise I do enjoy being in front of an audience.
Right.
Which is a bit like my teaching,
Yeah, I'm going to
really.
say, yeah, it's very similar to teaching.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like Miss Entertainment, you
Right,
know.
yeah.
You know, put me in front of a crowd and I'll entertain them. But
How do you get on with remembering lines? I'm terrible at
that's
remembering
been a
lines.
difficult one, that, you know, especially that I did one about the NHS.
Even things you write yourself.
Even things I write myself. I wrote this
Yeah.
monologue for the NHS evening, and can you believe it? I couldn't remember the lines.
Yeah, no, I can believe
No,
it.
but
Yeah,
I mean,
example.
rehearsals help with that.
Yeah.
And staging, where you are on stage, and
Right.
prompts from the other actor, really, so that helps.
Right,
So it's
right.
something I want to do a little bit more of.
Right.
And you know, I am planning on writing a play to put into the Bruntwood.
Right.
I mean, the thing with TV and films, it can be such a long process. It can be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, do fringe theatre. In fact, I did a fringe theatre piece last year.
Right.
And it was the very first calling card that I developed with Nicola Schindler that never got made.
Right.
But the themes had come round again.
Right.
So I did it as a one-woman play. I directed it, but wrote the 2 characters
Yeah.
into one actress played the 2 characters, and it was
Right.
about class division. It was about people struggling on the breadline again, because those themes had come round from '97. We
Yeah.
were just
Yeah,
coming out
yeah.
the back end of a Conservative government, and now we're back in one.
Yeah, mainly caused by the overspend of the Labour Party in the middle of that.
Yeah, all right, fair enough, fair dues. But at the end of the day, those themes were relevant again. So I put it on the stage and then rekindled it into a treatment
Right.
that's relevant for now, and I've been trying to get that away.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Battlefall, one woman lives in a nice, it's how, where you can live in a posh area
Yeah.
and share the same postcode with somebody on a council
Yes.
estate.
Yeah.
And this woman lives on the posh area, they've lost everything because of the economic crisis.
Right.
And had to move across the bridge to live on this council estate.
Okay. Yeah. Same postcode, though.
Yeah, same postcode.
Yeah.
It's a clash of cultures.
All right, brilliant.
And how friendship has grown there, you know. It's called The Divide.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, in fact, before we're going for advice for writers, I was talking to someone about lift pitches. What's your take on lift pitches, as in really short synopsis, so you can sort of just spew out what
I teach this.
Right.
And I've been asked to teach a course where you come up with a treatment.
Yeah.
and then you write the short film.
Yeah.
So it's over 12 weeks. But to do a treatment, as you know, Tony,
Yeah.
you have to really know the project. I
Yes.
mean, I'm writing a treatment now, and it's taking me weeks and weeks because you only get one chance within that treatment to get that idea across. It was a treatment for a series idea.
Right.
I've not been commissioned to do it.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got to go in with everything in place.
So like a pitch treatment as well.
Yeah,
like
pitch treatment.
Right, okay.
And then so what they call the elevator pitch is a log line.
Yeah.
You know, this is about.
Yeah.
But if you can't do that, then you don't know what you're writing about.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, it's the theme and the character who's going to drive that story that you've got to concentrate on.
I deal with a lot of people who are independent producers, like, producing the stuff independently. And it's one of their fallbacks. I'll say, so what's it about? And there'll be some long, convoluted sort of conversation that goes on
Yeah.
for 15 minutes, and
Too
I'm still
long.
none the wiser. I'm like,
Yeah. 3-line
and
pitch.
so what's it about?
Yeah.
We've discovered it's a drama or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, and I don't think they get it, that it's so important to be able to just transfer your idea like instantly.
You can't come up with a log line until you've done the footwork, until you've gone through the treatment process and
Yeah.
you actually know what it is about. And then again, once it gets commissioned, it can change
Yeah.
the way you unfold that story, but it's the theme.
Yeah.
It's all about why are you writing it? And the big question everybody asks now, and they've always asked it, why are we writing it now?
Yeah.
Do you
yeah,
get
yeah,
why?
yeah.
Why should we make this now?
Yeah.
Why is it relevant now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure every writer get asked that
No,
question, but
yeah. I mean, we even got asked that by. I'm sure you asked it.
probably. What's the relevance?
And it was like, there's no relevance at all in mine.
There
Well,
always is.
I suppose there is.
You just
yeah,
can't
yeah.
see it sometimes.
Yeah.
And people will interpret on your work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was in a class the other day and they were talking about cops and they were asking me questions about a structure and did we go out? We didn't do it like that.
Right.
We did a lot of research and just brought all the ideas back to the table.
Do you follow? You discussed about structures. Do you follow any structures?
It's interesting, because we had this conversation with Anna in class the other day.
Right.
Because we're teaching we're setting our third years off now.
Yeah.
And we were doing a session on structure. And she asked me about the structure of Cops,
Right.
the episodes. And I said, ironically, we didn't go about it like that.
Yeah.
But when you're doing long-running shows like Casualty,
Yeah.
you have to construct the whole season.
Yeah.
You have to construct every episode. Certain shows have a very tight formula.
Yeah.
And that's where structure comes in.
There was a bit of foreshadowing I saw on Game of Thrones recently.
Right.
Now, I watched Game of Thrones from season 1 to is it season 6 now? And through that, there's a character called Hodor. And that's all he says. So everything he says is like, Hodor, Hodor, Hodor. And it's like, one of them things. Anyway, so all the way through these 6 seasons, he's been saying Hodor. And this is a massive spoiler for anybody who hasn't watched Game of Thrones. And if they've not, tough. Do you know what I mean? We're on
seen
season
one
6
yet.
now. So season 6 comes, this big guy, Hodor, this other lad, is going, hold the door. And he's trying to keep this horde of like these baddies sort of out by holding the door. And he's going, hold door, hold door, hold the door, hold. And then it swaps to him back into when he was a child and having this fit through this time link thing, going, hold the door, hold, Hodor. And it was like, hold the door was Hodor.
Right.
And it was just like, what? They
Where did that
planned
come from?
the beginning? And there's like
No,
20
no
episodes
way.
in
No,
each
no, no,
one.
no, no.
And I was like, is that right?
It's
Has
a
he
bit
planned
like,
that?
what was it called? The plane crash one.
Oh, yes, Lost. Yeah.
No, they had no idea how that was going to end.
Well, they did I think it was, the intention was to do 2 or 3 seasons and they had an ending. Then the producers came and gave them bucketfuls of money and said, we need another season.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure what they must have done is looked at all the fan theories of how and what was going on and just gone, we can't do any of them.
There
now.
was no other way they could go other than that was kind of between life and death, weren't they, at the end or something? They weren't
Something
quite
like,
dead,
I
said
still
that from
don't
the
even
beginning.
know what the end. I was
Yeah,
like,
they've got to
I'm
be
still
in
a bit
purgatory or
confused.
something spiritual like
I
that.
thought it was like a weird time shifting thing because they had like a time issue with sending a missile from a ship and it got there a couple of days earlier.
It's interesting though, because when you go in with these things, it's I don't know. You go in and you go, I don't believe that, and you go, do you believe that people got lost on a desert island. It's about entertainment. It's about fun. It's about pushing something sometimes.
I had a go at someone on Twitter, and it was a quote by Kubrick, and it would have been completely out of context, with all the rest of his thing. But people are so fucking pedantic at times on Twitter, and they put this quote, and it said something like, "A story must be an emotional journey, step by step into this and that and the other." And I was reading it, and I instantly thought of 2001: Space Odyssey, and I find that film boring. I've read the book, and the book's fine. Then I watched the film, and I was like, it's very aesthetically very pleasing. I'm sure it's very good for its day, how they've done it and everything. But to watch it as a film, it's fucking boring.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens for 3 bleeding hours or whatever it's on for.
Yeah.
Until the end bit, and then you go, I don't even get that. That's done at the end. With the book, it explains it very well.
Yeah.
But because of all the missing dialogue,
exactly.
It's just like, what's going on? So I just put,
and yet, Castaway.
Yeah.
Made you care. There was an empathy with the character.
Yeah.
A man on his own.
You're all right, go on.
We've got a little visitor. Hang on. There's that blue waterproof there. That's not that. That's my coat. There's that one. There's one of your own upstairs, and there's one in the back of the car, which is the...
Say hello, Nadia.
Hiya.
Come to the mic and say hello.
Hello.
I don't know. Oh, my millions of listeners.
Do you want another cardigan or something?
No, fine. I'm walking the dog with it to the co-op. No,
You will. It's cold.
All right, I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
About half an hour.
Okay.
The connection with Wilson.
Yeah, connection. No, but even so, it's a man on his own with no one to talk to, but they needed to contrive something for him to talk to because we need to hear things, don't we?
Absolutely, yeah.
Or you would resort to narration, which...
Although, I must admit, WALL-E, one of my favourite films, WALL-E.
Right.
45 minutes, and I think there's only about 2 lines of dialogue in it, up to the first 45 minutes, and it's brilliant.
Film.
Yeah.
Not a TV programme.
No, true. Oh, yeah, you're on about Castaway, the other thing, aren't you? The TV.
Oh, no, I wasn't actually. I was talking about the film. You're very film. Everything's your film. Yours is film references. I'm TV.
I suppose, yeah. But yeah, so I just put on this thing. Do you know what? Emotion aside, I just want to watch something that's entertaining.
Yeah.
Like if it came down to watching 2001 on Napoleon Dynamite, which you don't know what the hell's going on with Napoleon Dynamite. There is no real emotional
you, though.
journey.
That's you all over that. Don't do emotions.
Got a massive debate going on Twitter with this, and I was just like, come on, get a grip. I'm not arguing with Stanley Kubrick. I'm not saying I'm a better director or a better writer. All I'm saying is the quote that he's used there is poor. It's like, it's not just about emotional journey and the rest of it. It's entertainment as well. If it wasn't entertaining, we wouldn't fucking watch it.
Well, that's true, but everybody's taste in entertainment is slightly different then, isn't it?
Yeah. People, I'm not into 2001.
I think that's been made clear.
The Shining and the rest of it, and his moon landing stuff were brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wasn't into that. So you don't necessarily have you wrote films?
I have.
Did you follow a structure for that?
I think somehow that maybe some of my TV ideas are films.
Right.
I've written. I've not written a full length film actually, but I've written parts of it. I've been commissioned to write parts of films.
Right.
To try and get the money up front. I've just written something for somebody in America. So she wanted the first 10 minutes, as she was saying, but I gave her the first 20 because that in a kind of is your first up to the inciting moment.
Yeah.
So you do observe those things.
Right.
I think organically.
Yeah.
I'm always been a storyteller.
Yes.
I didn't know what they were called.
Yeah.
Those moments, those peaks, those, high moments, those troughs, characters' journey, battling against the odds. And it wasn't until I actually came to teach that I had to learn the language of structure and plot structure. But obviously, I'd had good script editors who'd push me. I remember when I wrote my first episode of Peak Practice, which was my dad's story, I just wrote it in 3 days because it was so fresh.
Yeah.
Without doing a scene by scene, I just wrote the damn thing. And then I got a call from the script editor and he said, we need to talk about structure. Okay. I rang my agent and I went, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
What does structure mean? So she said, the way you go from A to B to C, you know, how the story unfolds. And I went, I think I need to go and do a degree in writing, or I need to go and do a writing course. But I got guided through that by decent script editors. But then now I know the language. It's almost somehow it inhibits you a little bit, I think, sometimes.
Right.
But I know I've got to reach those
I get
points.
that.
Yeah.
No,
I will go on the board.
Yeah.
And take it out of my mind and put it down, you know. But at the moment, I'm doing a treatment stage, and I know how all those episodes will unfold.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. I understand. I agree with you as well that it can sort of inhibit your progress through if you're constantly going, oh God, no, I needed to do something by like page.
I think you
12.
do it naturally, don't you? You
Yeah.
do realise something has to happen at this point. And I think what you've got to respond to is that people's attention span's a lot shorter than it used to be.
Yeah.
We're more. Having said that, we had this debate on Monday. I do enjoy. I think slow storytelling's coming back again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Particularly on television.
They've just done Sean Penn. Just done this. Is it called First or First Visit? Basically, it's a story about a team getting ready to go to Mars. My God, that is slow. That is the slowest thing I've seen on TV for a while. Like, I think it's a bit too slow. That
I think sometimes with a slower way of telling a story, you allow the characters to live a bit better.
Yeah.
Than anything that's very plot led.
Yeah.
Twisty turning. I mean, Line of Duty, when that first came out, I think it's taken them a little while to find the balance. The first series was just on adrenaline. It was plot, 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 plot. And the classic thing that happened at the end was he hadn't thought about the ending. And there was this big summation in the last episode is everything that you teach not to do.
Yeah.
It's a case of, well, just in case you all missed this, there was flashbacks, there was expositional dialogue, and I think the second year he managed to plan ahead.
Right.
Some writers are not planners, they just pour it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a consequence of if you don't plan where you're going, you end up tying yourself into so many knots.
Yeah.
And like you say, you and I and people who watch it go, well, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
It sticks out like a sore thumb. Whereas planning, I think we all need to plan somehow.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I mean, even if it's just sort of a page of notes.
Scene by scene, or at least you know, I know you loved the scene by scene, Alan, didn't you?
I did, yeah. But I'm sort of, I think I'm a bit more organic now. I'm the same sometimes. I'll write something in 2 days.
Yeah.
And then just go back to it after and then sort of start
But
structuring
can you
it a little
unpack
bit
it
better.
again? You can't.
I think, I struggle to
That
change
objectivity.
things then.
Yeah, you do struggle to change. We all do.
It's a case of I don't have anybody at the minute that I can sort of peck their head and just go, can you read this 40-minute script?
Anna and I had this
Do you know what it's like?
conversation the other day because we had our students around the table and I went, this is gold, this. Actually,
Who's Anna?
Anna. Our Anna.
Oh, are you back at Leeds?
Yeah, I'm teaching with her over in Leeds.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I thought you were at Salford.
I am, and I teach in Leeds on a
Oh,
Monday.
look at you. Right,
can
brilliant.
you go and where the
You'll have to
money
say
is.
hi to them.
I will. We were talking about you the other day, actually. I told her you were coming.
Right.
And we said, I said, maybe I'll bring my script in next week and you all can give me feedback.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think, I said to her, we need a little collective where we can get together and even if it's just
We used
getting
to do
a second
it. Yeah.
set. But I used to do it with another writer in Liverpool and he used to come back with he was a producer as well.
Right.
So in fact, he gave me some great notes on something, but you can't do it for yourself. It's really, really tough.
I know.
Self-editing.
I think sometimes as well when you're at university and you've just started and you say first years and you're doing writing and then you're getting feedback from you're going, fuck are you on about?
Yeah.
You don't know anything. Why are you giving me feedback?
Yeah, well, I know that.
Do you know?
Yeah.
But no, I'm not the teachers or the
Yeah.
the lecturers. I mean the other sort of people in your class.
Because
You
the
go,
interested,
"Oh, why are you
I
saying
do that quite a bit, peer feedback, because if I say it, then they might think it's just me. But if somebody else in the group is not getting it,
Yeah.
several sets of ears have heard your work read out, and it's raising questions or doubts about certain motivations.
Yeah.
You can't not but listen to that.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's a case, if you've got the consensus, like the majority of the people are saying the thing. But
It's hard taking feedback, Tony.
I know.
I mean, I sent something out well before it should have been sent out, and it's come back. I'm very confused when two people have said that. So,
Right.
professional developer and
I don't send
my
anything out
agent,
anymore.
kind of go, right, okay, so obviously that's confusing them, but I need to be a bit more pedestrian in the treatment so that
Yeah.
they can see how it's going to unfold.
Right. Yeah.
And stylistically then impose that on the scripts, how I want that story to be unfolded in the script format.
Right. So what's this one for? What you sent out?
I'm not going to say. Female-led,
Oh, is it a
female-written.
triple F rated film?
It's a series, TV drama.
All right. Okay.
I'm developing at the moment. It's about identity. It's something that I wrote in the past, but I've imposed a really big subplot on it now. So I'm just wading my way into it at the minute.
Right.
And I'm trying to find me in it as well, because
Yeah.
I think that's where my best writing is, when I can identify with
Right.
the story.
Yeah.
Family
Find yourself.
secrets, lies.
Like I keep finding that pathetic guy that I keep writing
Yeah.
about. So, if you had any sort of, not advice, but say, I mean, there's who have we got? Vogler, Schneider. What's the guy who did Thousand Faces that bores me to death?
Oh, you mean the authorities on all this writing formats and structure?
What's his bleeding name? Who did
McKee.
There's McKee. He's not bad actually, McKee. He's still alive, isn't he?
I think he is.
Yeah, he still does. He still
There's
does
loads of people who write books about structure and formatting, and
Do you go that one?
I don't know.
I like Blake Schneider.
Oh,
I used to
Save
hate
the
him.
Cat.
Yeah, I
I
like
do.
it.
I think the Schneider book is quite accessible. It's fun.
Yeah,
It
yeah. He's arrogant.
demystifies quite a lot, I think, and simplifies it. Is it a theory? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his step-by-step approach. I mean, he's just taking it from like basics, but
Yeah.
it makes it easier reading as
It
well.
does
You know,
make it
like
easier
where it
reading.
was like, a night of 1,000 deaths. You know, like in the old one, you're like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
fuck does that mean? I don't know
I
what that
know
means.
people get too clever, don't they? And
yes.
then you switch off.
I think it's just the wording's updated.
I
and
have
everything
picked up
from
these
that.
books most recently and started to read chapters out of them. There's a
Right.
couple on my desk upstairs, and I keep
Right.
dabbling in and going, just to reassure myself that I do know these things.
Yeah. I met a friend of mine was teaching writing, not to the same level, but he said the only time he got better at writing when he was teaching.
It's true.
Because he sort of learned all these sort of different things that you need to push
has it
onto
made me a
the others.
better writer? It's made me a better communicator, because
Right.
when you go for meetings,
Yeah.
you're talking their language.
Yeah,
They've all done these courses.
Yeah.
And places like the BBC are constantly bringing in gurus to teach them how to store. I mean, on Casualty, I think we had about 2.
Right.
But they come in and they talk to the editorial team, and then they come up with this, now we want to do a 5-act structure.
Right.
And we're looking at these characters' personas. Will we do that organically? We do that naturally as writers, or
Yeah.
good writers always take care of character?
Yeah.
But
I suppose, yeah, when you're starting out, though, you do sort of make them a little bit similar sometimes. I think it's dialogue. I had an issue with dialogue, and I'd write... And
And they all sounded like
they
you.
just sounded like the same person.
You.
Like, you could just change the names.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, yeah.
No, that's quite a common mistake.
But that was one of the tasks. Is like, right, change your character names, and if it doesn't sound like it's a different person, then it's not a different person.
It's
So
true.
like, right, okay, that's an easy way of doing it.
No,
then,
I've seen
to
that quite a bit,
rectify
where everybody speaks it saying they're all a bit chippy, and then you go, well, that's the way you are.
Yeah.
That's all right for one character, but then somebody has to be an opposite of that, really.
I always make better. What would you class them as? You know, like your lead character, and how they have like a funny or a weird friend that's always
Protagonist is your lead character, yeah.
and then your friends and I always made them better than the actual protagonist. Do you know, like
Interesting. What, the antagonist?
not the antagonist, like the sidekick, if you will.
Yeah, the confidant.
Yeah. I'd always make them characters were always brilliant, and the protagonist was shit.
Isn't it interesting? Maybe you saw yourself in that role.
Possibly, yeah. I'm going to,
You maybe could
it
identify
was always a bit
with
pathetic.
the name. Yeah, oh, was he really? Was he a bit pathetic?
Don't know what that were about. So next bit is that we'll wrap up because your daughters are here.
Yeah.
All your daughters are in the industry as well, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
I know. I don't know. What's your daughter?
Maria's a musician, singer.
Maria's
Yeah.
musician, singer.
Yeah.
Nadia's a makeup artist.
She is, yeah.
Who's she been makeuping recently?
She does a lot of comedians,
Right.
quite high profile comedians. She moved to London, so she's just walked in literally. I've not seen her for a couple of months. So she's doing really well. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It must be your creative roots of like
Lead
rubbed
from the
off on
front
them.
is what I say. Both girls.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. Female led.
Female led. Yeah, we have got the.
You don't have any sons, then, do you?
No.
Oh yeah, triple F rated.
Triple F
film.
rated family we are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Advice for writers starting out.
It depends when you say starting out. What level? Where are we at?
I don't know. Where should we be? I suppose if you'd not had any formal training, you just sort of you were writing scripts, that type of thing. I suppose.
I think there are always source where if there's anywhere people will read your scripts. There are lots of things you can pay for, but there are lots of free things as well.
Right.
The writers' room at the BBC.
Do you actually get involved with the writing?
I've never used them, no, because I'm a professional. But I know people who they have schemes.
Right.
It's always worth looking at. Maybe writing for stage, submitting things that way through local schemes, or actually making them.
Yeah.
And then inviting TV people and saying, oh, whatever, this could be a film. But in terms of writing scripts, it's all about just getting it out there, getting it. Be cheeky.
Yeah.
Don't hear no.
It's difficult,
Agent,
though, isn't it?
you say, what, get an agent? How hard is that?
I don't know. Difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
You can't self-publish a script. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it is. It
is. I mean, people say, well, why don't you make it? And you go, well, what? Give me a million and I'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're going for radio.
Unless you go for radio.
Convert it.
Radio's another way.
It is.
Tony,
yeah.
you'll tell us that.
I know.
That
yeah,
is
you want something
easy,
making quite
you
easily.
can look at
do it
us
that way.
recording in the room here in my house, you know.
Exactly.
So
and that's what I did on my radio play. If it was supposed to be a house, we went into a house, recorded it there, and we did everything on
all the
location.
ambient,
So we didn't really need to try too hard after on the soundscape. of
Right.
it. We were just already done.
right.
Movement all recorded the same way it should be.
Anyway, make short films.
Yeah.
Show, a micro short. If it's showing your voice, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. But it's all about, excuse me. You'll have to cut that. Sorry about that. Broadcasters think they know how young people, particularly young people, view TV, and they don't.
Right.
We did a census the other day. Nobody has a TV license.
Yeah.
So why are you making programs on mainstream television? They don't even watch BBC iPlayer.
No.
So if you can create a little micro shot, or you can make something and get it out there and create a buzz somehow. It could be a character out of your script. It doesn't have to be the full story, but just showing your voice or getting something out there. Just make it. Just get out there, make your own stuff and create a buzz. You've got to go that extra mile really these days, because there are so many people can sit and write a script. Some people don't ever want to have their script made.
Yeah.
They just want to write a screenplay.
Yeah.
And never get it made. But you can't self-publish online. So the only other way is actually make something of it, even if it's in the shortest of forms. Just create. Because your frustrations will be overwhelming if you're submitting your work. Look for schemes that are relevant to your either gender or your group or your age range. Just look for anything that you could just get your work critiqued.
Yeah. Critique, that's important, being able to take that feedback on it as well.
Tony's vein used to pop out at the side of his head when I gave him a critique. And it's there now. Look, it's there in his forehead. Remembering it, he's gone very red in the face. It's not easy.
It's not. Especially when you've spent so long and then you think, oh my God, you start worrying, about what people are going to think about it. And then when
but
you go in there,
that's where you're not going to take it personally.
I know.
It's not a personal attack.
Much better now.
You're better now.
I'm a balls.
Believe that.
Just don't send it out for
You
anything.
don't. Well, that's the thing, you see, because you have to have the balls to just send things out there and be
Yeah.
prepared to get it knocked back. I mean, I just wildly sent this is, got the writer's handbook, and anyone where it said we'll read unsolicited materials as agents.
Yeah.
I sent it out. Sent sketches to Calador. I wouldn't hear no, but I was a mature student with 2 kids. I wasn't pissing about. I had to get some money coming in soon. And so I just went through this. Don't hear no. Don't say no. If somebody says, try that, do it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. If you're telling yourself no before you're sending your work out.
Yeah, listen to your little shadow.
Yeah. You're listening to yourself and going, oh, no, I'm not good enough. Then you'll never get your work out there.
Yeah.
And critique isn't saying you're bad or you're wrong. It's just not working for that particular... I get knockbacks all the time.
I'd much rather you were harsh with critique, as in sort of, you wouldn't piss about, you just go, yeah, it's a bit shit, that. Do you know, that's...
I think I might have said it a little bit more professionally than that.
It wasn't. But I'd prefer that than somebody who beats around the bush and is meaning the same point. Do you know what I mean? Then you have to sit there for an hour listening to someone go about the way, just telling you that it's shit or that you've got to change something, some aspect of it. I'd much rather just get to the point like you used to do. And I think that was because...
Retrospectively speaking.
We were always like very shallow on time, weren't we?
We were very shallow on
We've got
time.
half an hour, we've got to get through this quickly. Like.
So we have to do it bluntly, yeah.
Yeah. But I'd much rather have
I mean,
it
you
blunt
don't
than
think I've ever got a script back that's
sugar-coated.
got written on it, this is a load of shit. Somebody sent me a script back once and they mistakenly sent me the one that the executive producer had put the notes on.
God, right.
And he was incredibly blunt.
Right.
This bit's crap.
Yeah.
This is shit. And, all over the scripts and you're kind of going, oh my God. And you go, oh, well, it's a bit blunt.
Yeah.
But, that's just, that was never meant to have been seen back. That should have been filtered out by the script editor and wasn't.
Right.
So it is a very cruel and blunt business.
Yeah. Would you recommend formal education for people who want, if they want to do script writing, would you recommend that they do it as a formal educated thing? Would that increase their value or, would that help them out in their career?
I think what doing something through education might give somebody is the...
Don't worry about working for 2 establishments.
No, I think we're actually going through the process of doing a degree and leaving with that might give you some more extra confidence.
Right, yeah.
And it might help you get through a door because it's shown that you've committed yourself to that subject matter for 3 years plus the debt, clearly.
Yeah.
I didn't do a writing course. I did an acting devising course. So maybe organically I was a good storyteller from the concept, from the beginning. I would say you don't have to do an educational course.
I'm putting it up against people that call themselves... I have a lot of people on Twitter and they'll go, I'm a writer. And I'll go, all right, so you write, have you done anything? Yeah, I did this 12-week course, 6-week course.
Yeah.
So you're taking the piss or what? You can't learn writing in 6 weeks. Like, you can't call yourself a writer unless you're writing. Do you know, for one, they weren't even writing. Never really written anything that anybody had seen. So it's like calling yourself a filmmaker, but you've never actually made a film.
Exactly.
It's a bit one of them.
Academia's full of them.
It is, I know. Well, the term, it's all academic. It sort of means that you're just talking about
but the
shit.
interesting thing now is that with academia is that they're subbing it up with people like yourself and me who are practitioners to bring in relevant skills.
Yeah.
Because things are changing.
Yeah.
The way we watch things are changing.
Yeah.
Who would have heard of a podcast before?
I know.
Or a webisode. I'm going to do a vlog now and then I'm going to do a webisode because, I might be 60, but I'm still producing work.
You're never 60.
I am.
You look wonderful for your age.
Thank you very much. It's a shame it's not visual.
Yes. Well, I have to take a photo. No, it's not.
But, because I started late, I consider myself sort of like just in the same age group as late 40s and early 50s.
Yeah.
They don't question their validity in the world. I've got something to say. I've lost my thread a little bit there now. I don't know what the question was.
I can't.
Do you have to have done education?
Oh, yeah.
I think it would have given it would give someone the confidence.
Yeah.
But no, if you can't call yourself a writer unless you're writing, as you've said,
Yeah.
a 12-week course about structure and narrative structure and characters is one thing, but then apply it.
Yeah.
Put it up for some critique.
Yeah, definitely. So what's next? What's this about a book? You were mentioning a book before. Are you writing a book?
Yeah. Keep saying, why don't you write a book? And a lot of screenwriters are now writing books.
Right.
What,
a book about screenwriting?
No.
Or a book about just...
Because I like, for example, the Victorian detective, Pete.
Yeah.
I had 8 episodes with completely individual stories, all planned out, and they were told over 2 hours.
Right.
I did so much research. I've got so much detail of that world, and it's all there. It could be a serialized book.
Right.
So why not?
Would you do that?
I
Serialized
would
book?
serialize a book.
Right.
Yeah, because you can self-publish that,
Yeah, you can.
and then let them buy it in, and then let's make it as a series.
Yeah, get it done. I'll
Get
read
it the other way around. Why not?
Yeah. So is that your future?
I don't know. Because I doubt I have the vocabulary to write a book, but people think I have.
I'd say you have,
I think
judging off this
just
podcast.
how to,
And it's different writing because you constantly go back and think, maybe I could use a better word for that. It's so simple these days, isn't it? Synonym.
Yes. My best friend, that. When
So
you're
you can-
repeating yourself.
You can make it sort of a lot
I
better
think
instantly.
that's my
if you-
working class chip that maybe thinks I can't write a book. But it was a
Right.
little bit like my working class chip didn't think I could be a screenwriter.
Yeah.
Or that I'm as valid as a middle class screenwriter.
Right.
But I am.
Working class unite.
And I don't just write about the working class neither, because are we working class? No. Am I still working class?
No, you balls, you're well middle class now.
I am proper middle. I don't know about now. But, and that's in itself is an interesting phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think Jason Mansford's tour is called Muddled Class.
Right.
And that's the kind
is
of
that what it's
interesting
about?
thing,
Right,
yeah.
right, okay.
It's that, born into working class, you've moved in working middle class circles and upper class circles, as I've had at the time,
Yeah.
but it's your root, it's who you are.
Yeah,
And I think I've been trying to fight against that quite a lot
Right.
by not deliberately writing working class stuff.
I know that the BBC set out a whole range of different classes. It was about 3-4 years ago. And they said, go and check it. Go and answer this quick questionnaire and you'll find out what class you're in. And it started from like one scale to the... Obviously.
Yeah.
From one scale to the other. But there was about 10 or 12 different classes.
There are different classes.
And rather than having 3,
there are.
middle and higher, it was just like sort
We're
of
supposed to be a classless
split
society. I think we
right
just
up.
got more classes.
I think so.
We
yeah,
have.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, there's only was it Monday, when the BFI have been told that they've got to diversify to working class people.
Good. About time.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to that.
Yeah.
So,
I've been waiting till
we're
we're
back.
a
We've come
minority.
full circle again, haven't we, now, about diversity and underrepresentation. I mean,
Yeah.
the working class voice has been underrepresented,
It has, yeah.
especially in films.
God, yeah. I mean,
And
we've got a
television has
few-
become a bit more like film now. They're looking for big adaptations like Killing Eve.
Yeah.
That's going to sell globally. So what does that mean? We've got to, who's going to want to look at the working class globally? So they don't think that's sexy enough
Yeah,
to sell globally. So they'll do Vanity Fair,
right.
and they'll do... Oh, actually, what's quite interesting is the female Doctor Who. That was the first time I saw
Yes, yeah.
Doctor Who.
As
I'm
long
a
as they
Doctor
leave
Who
James Bond
virgin.
alone, I'm all right.
Dr. James Bond alone. Doctor Who female, watched it for the first time the other day, and I thought it was quite intriguing to see the subject matter was about racism. They went back to
I've not seen it.
the Rose Parks story.
Ah, right.
The
Yeah,
woman on the
sorry.
bus,
I read something on it. Yeah.
which is quite it's obviously a...
I'll watch that.
yeah.
I'll watch it. I've not watched Doctor Who for probably the last 2 seasons.
I've not watched
I like
Doctor
Peter
Who
Capaldi.
since Christopher Eccleston came into it.
Right.
And curiously watched it the other day, and I thought, well, that's intriguing, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, on the women's writers page, it's
Right.
taken quite an intriguing.
I'll watch it. Yeah. I'll give it a go because I can understand why Doctor Who can change as a character, but
He's never been a woman before.
Yeah, he's never. No, true. Yeah, no, but genetically, and he's an alien, and it's an alien,
Yeah.
and all that. Then there's no reason why he can't change into a she.
Exactly.
Like on the thing. But with certain things, like say Ghostbusters, didn't see the point. Did not see the point in them rebooting Ghostbusters using the similar story as the original one,
Right.
but rebooting it into why they didn't just do a continuation. Do you know, I've left off from, so them Ghostbusters have existed and then do a continuation somehow. It's all gone wrong, you
So
know,
it's
and
all
then
women
rebuilt
now,
the
is
business.
it?
Yeah, but they rebooted it. And they're called the same names as the characters that were meant. I was thinking, well, what's
And
the
they're
point in
women.
that? Yeah, I didn't get that. You see, that's
I think that's tokenism, that.
yeah.
I think you're going to write about women. Write about women.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly so, Killing Eve, in the books, that the psychotic character was a man,
Right,
but she turned into a woman.
right.
And it's the gender change. I think both of them have changed genders, you know, and it's made it very intriguing.
Yeah, yeah.
I think.
I'll watch that. I've not seen that yet.
Have you not seen Killing Eve?
Not yet. What's it on?
You'll catch it on the box sets on BBC iPlayer.
Right.
Amazing. Get into it. And also the other one I recommend, which is on the box set in the iPlayer, is called, oh my God, The Informer.
Right.
And
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
I was up till 5 watching that on Saturday night. If you've
Are
got
you a
people-
box set basher?
I am a bit of a box
I
set
know.
basher. It's terrible. The birds start tweeting. I think I better go to bed. Why am I so tired? It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
No, you can't beat a good box set.
Yeah, I save them up. I literally sort of, if there's a new season started and I watch it and I think, oh my God,
Yeah.
why are they doing this one a week? Why
And,
can't I watch
just
the entire...
store 'em up,
I'll
like
store 'em
Saul,
up, yeah,
Better
yeah.
Call Saul.
Yes, I did, yeah, I've done the
I've
same
not
with
finished
Saul.
watching that one
Have you
yet.
not? I've watched it now.
The
'cause
new
We're
series.
at an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch that now.
Oh,
I got myself a Fire Stick, so I'm going to cancel Sky and get everything on that. Yeah, but
royalties.
waste of time now, Sky. I'm sick of it.
I know.
It's too expensive for what it
It's
is.
so expensive.
I know.
I've not got Sky.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. You can get everything probably
We shouldn't.
illegally streamed.
Yeah, I know. Shouldn't be saying that, should we?
I don't even know whether it's illegal though to stream it. I don't think it is. Certain
know how to do
apps.
it. If I knew how to do
Oh,
it,
yeah.
I'd be doing it myself. Don't you
I
worry.
think I'll send you some instructions.
Okay,
it's
cool.
easy. It's not. It's
Turn this off. That's someone's royalties.
True. Yeah. No, I'm the same with music. I don't get any more royalties though, so it doesn't matter to me anymore.
That's because you're a sad character.
I'm just because I'm pathetic.
Pathetic
that's
character.
the
And on
one.
that note,
So right, thanks for agreeing to do this. It's been
I'm
marvelous.
sure I hope
having
you
you.
can get some sense out of all of that.
No, it's all great. Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
Not really, no.
No.
I'll come back next time I've got something to plug.
So yeah, if you just want to say bye. And then...
Bye. Thank you for listening, and thanks for coming to interview me.
You've been listening to a confusing load of bollocks. The views and opinions of any guests are not necessarily that of Custard Room Productions. And if you were offended or do not agree with any of the comments, please take it to Twitter and we'll ignore you. You snowflake.
This episode was sponsored by AlexanderDoddy.com for all your voiceover and narration needs. He provides a full professional service, all digitally supplied. Remember to check the show notes for links to any films or social media mentioned throughout. Or if you're thinking of sponsoring the show, please contact me at Custard Room on Twitter. Thanks for listening.